What's going on, my curious and intellectual people? Welcome back for another small clip with intrigue and insights, where deep conversations meet everyday life, looking beyond the obvious to uncovering meaning, challenge assumption, and find wisdom in places most people overlook. I got me a new background here, and yeah, I'm really not feeling this one. I try to stick with my theme color, black and gold, but yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have this one for very long. Yeah, it's really not cutting it. But anyways, so we're starting another phase of season 3 on who we are becoming, trying to survive. Now, in this section, we're gonna cover faith under pressure. And the first topic is, this is why faith feels empty for some people. People seek faith to find meaning, hope, and connection. But for many, faith feels empty and unsatisfying. So let's explore why this happens and how to navigate it. Most of us don't notice it when it happens to us, but our faith actually has a sound. It shows up in our prayers, in the way we talk about life, and in the way we ask for help. And if you listen closely, you can tell the difference between a faith that has been shaped over time and faith that's just trying to survive the moment. Desperation faith sounds like a frantic plea for an immediate, self-serving solution, often born from panic. While formed faith sounds like confident trust built on endurance and spiritual maturity. Desperation faith reacts to crisis, whereas formed faith rests on established, tested beliefs. And personally, I can attest to having vending machine faith. Before I actually became a Christian, I had a faith in God from my upbringing. I was brought up from the church. So I definitely knew who God was and was familiar with being in church. But I never put my trust and reliance in it. My trust and reliance was completely on myself. But anyways, I had that vending machine faith where I would come to God with a request in desperation, seeking for deliverance. And technically, before I went to prison, that was my number one go-to. I would ask my mom and all her prayer warriors, her friends, to pray for me for situations. I can even remember the last time that I went to jail, I was praying for deliverance from the case, with well knowing that I was not going to change anything at all once I became free. And that's exactly what happened, which landed me back in prison for the amount of time that I end up doing almost an 8-year sentence. So I totally get it and understand what this vending machine faith looks like. It's a common human tendency to seek comfort over growth and ask for external circumstances to change rather than internal character. Because in difficult situations, we often focus on removing the pain, the relief, rather than allowing the experience to mold us into a stronger, more resilient person. Transformation. So here's the thing. When we're asking for relief, we're asking for the situation to be fixed. The focus is to escape discomfort, pain, or challenging circumstances. The approach is to change the situation, such as removing a difficult person, finding a new job, or curing an illness that we have. The goal is comfort, ease, and stability. But the question is, how long will this comfort last? Now, when we're talking about transformation, transformation fixes the heart. Its focus is to allow the difficulty to break down the pride, to build endurance, and to reshape character. And the approach is to pray, Lord, fix my heart before you fix my situation. And the goal is spiritual maturity, a deeper connection with God, and increased resilience. But here's the thing. How do we shift from relief to transformation? For one, we have to recognize the purpose of the struggle. Often, when the circumstances doesn't change, it's because God is using the situation to transform us. He is trying to reveal something that is in us in order to reshape what's in us. It builds the true power of prayer. Prayer is meant to be a tool for inner change rather than something to influence external events. So instead of asking, God, fix this, we can ask, fix us. Then we have the outcome. When our heart is transformed, the burden becomes lighter, even when the load remains the same. Our perspective change, and we become wiser and stronger with dealing with those particular circumstances. Another issue with this mindset is that God becomes a solution rather than a presence. Presence is experiencing an intimate, personal connection and being in the moment with God relationship. Solution is using God like a jukebox, a tool, or a vending machine where our heart's desire makes a selection, and then once we have it, we're done. It often involves a quick fix. It implies using God to meet our personal needs, like asking for help with a problem rather than desiring God himself. But true faith matures when survival ends. And this happens when we stop using faith solely as a tool to escape pain or secure safety, to trust in the character and purpose of God in spite of the circumstances. Because God isn't useful, he's relational. Remember, clarity doesn't come from easy answers, but from the courage to ask the hard ones. So stay curious, stay open, and keep looking deeper. Peace.